want to get started with AI. Is that good?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, wait.
Okay.
Okay, let's talk about AI.
Okay, let's talk about AI. Okay, so we did talk about AI in the last episode. Lots of changes that are happening fast, and they're coming. One of the things that Goldman Sachs recently released was that up to 300 million jobs could be affected by AI.
Yes.
It's a lot of the jobs that can be affected by AI. I think some were noted as like admin, but I wanted to say that
A lot of white collar jobs.
yes, a lot of white collar jobs. Wired about like 13 days ago, like 2 weeks ago from this episode, did a video on like if AI could take their job. They had a bunch of different people on there. A lot of the comments though, because they had like doctor, they had lawyer, they had like bartender, they had a bunch of different people.
That's true.
Yeah, but they had therapists. They had a bunch of different jobs on there, and a lot of the people said that AI can't take their job yet, or it's like it's almost there. But I think that there's some jobs I don't think that AI could take. But oh yeah, here, ding,
Cheers.
cheers. There is some jobs that I don't think AI could take because, like for example, the therapist had said that it's like they've had self-help books for so long, but the job
Nobody
hasn't
wants
been
to
taken.
read. Nobody wants to read, Josh.
Yeah.
You expect me to read about depression? I
Oh.
live it. It's
Oh
it's
God! So
every day.
I think jobs like that they can't really take because it requires like a very it requires like a face-to-face interaction and someone that could be more empathetic.
I don't know.
That's my viewpoints. But other
like,
jobs I think it could take.
Think about it this way though. If you just want to like voice out your concerns, like make it out like talk about it, because a lot of times like you just don't want to talk about people you know. So if you like wanted to like just express your feelings to like express your feelings at all, then like AI would be fine, because like if as long as that AI doesn't go and like leak your conversation, then it's fine.
That's what I'm scared of, about someone leaking my information, especially in that sort of case. But the first person I think that they did was a developer.
Oh
Yeah, and they were like, well, it wrote code. Like they were, I don't think they answered it if it can or it can't. They just said it wrote code. It was able to create an interface, and it was able to do, I guess, the task that it was assigned to do. So they didn't answer it, but it accomplished what they could do.
So
yeah,
hearing from one of our mutual friends, he was saying that the AI is unable to actually do anything besides like look up. So it's like go looking into a database of like other things, how things have been done. So like in terms of like creating something brand new from scratch that hasn't been seen, it might have more issue. But if you're trying to ask it something like, oh hey, create like something that's been done before or like has done multiple times, it can do that. But like in terms of creating something that hasn't been like made ever, then I think it runs into issues where like you would probably need a human still.
You talked about this the last time, that the AI could build a business.
That's true.
It could build a business and it could run a business.
People are doing it right now. The hustle has started.
Yes. So that's where I think that people are a little worried. People are a little worried that their jobs are going to be taken, because a lot of jobs could be automated. I think there was a CNN article that said it's like it could take jobs away and boost GDP by like 7%. It's been a while. It's been a couple of days since I read it, but yeah, I think that overall it will disrupt work or how we view work, but it would also make things more productive.
Is it because it's more productive by taking people out of the equation? You're like, get rid of these slow people and then put it in an efficient robot.
So it's interesting because I watched the Wired video and there was a graphic designer that was on there, right? Something creative. What what essentially the AI did was it gave like five different pictures, or it like illustrated five different things. I think the prompt was like, what if McDonald's went vegan? How would that look like? And it create me a logo of that. And it created five logos. They didn't look great, but at the same time, instantaneously created those, where it would take an artist, like maybe like a few hours to a day or two,
That's
depending
true.
on what it is. It's crazy that that's how fast it would be. And that's what I
So
was thinking about, of how productive it would make things.
it's definitely interesting because you could have like the animation sector. So they were saying that there are blatant issues with how things are done, because like in like animation and stuff, you have like a model of how something is shaped, but then like if you want to go into something where if it goes off model, where you're like more trying to make it more expressive or like showing different emotions, then like it takes kind of a human touch to like, oh, know that this is like appropriate to do in this moment, or like to break the mold of like, okay, like this a bit like contrarian or like. But one thing that they did say, because there was an interview with a manga art teacher, and she was saying how it helps with like coming up with ideas, or
Yeah.
like kind of either that, or if it can also study the model of like, you can draw a bunch of like pictures yourself and then like have the AI trained on your picture and your design choice,
Yeah.
and then have the thing like create things based on what you draw, like your art style. So that like that's a weird thing where like initially it's like yours and all your stuff, but like if it'll reduce the amount of stuff that you have to draw. Like if it's like a keyframe or like something that's like simple, like, oh, there's a talking one. And
Yeah.
it's like, hey, AI, make this thing where like he's just standing there looking heroic, and then it just makes it, and like, okay,
You,
saves me a bunch of time.
I don't want, so this is an influencer. I think more so I didn't want to bring influencer this early on, but I do remember seeing that a channel had gone, or it wasn't even a channel. I think it was like a company or someone, but they posted on YouTube that it's like saying, it's like, oh, we changed like animation, or we changed like animation forever using
Oh,
AI. And
Corridor Digital.
I think it was that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
And
know
they got,
exactly the one you're talking about.
yeah. And they got into a bunch of like
A
backlash.
lot of people did found an issue with it, but I mean, I think it's because the way
They worded
label
it.
it, yeah, because it's
Yeah.
like, oh, if it's like an AI medium, because like they didn't exactly steal anything. They like,
They copied the style.
but I feel like you can,
Yeah.
like, if you like make something that's like in the style of like a different show, like, oh, I'm making a show, but it's like in the style of Breaking Bad or like Game of Thrones style, but it's like it's just a fantasy story. This is like,
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But I do remember that. The main point of this, I think that, AI could definitely take jobs. Which jobs are to be determined, because I personally think that, a lot of these jobs where it requires a lot of like analytical work can be done
automated.
maybe by an AI. It just depends. But like, what will the jobs look like in like 5 to 10 years? People aren't even doing schoolwork. They're having their papers written. They're having their resumes written. Their cover letters written. It's crazy that it's gonna be such a big change. I think it was like yesterday or the day before. I think I don't know who, maybe it was the government. I'm not too sure. Don't quote me. There's a lot of things that I get wrong, and other, like, I'm just gonna say that they wanted to halt like they were like, you need to slow down on this AI stuff because it's advancing too fast.
So, so previously I was a computer scientist, and like in a different life,
In a different life.
and they have this whole segment of the computer science world, or like, and with ethics about AI. Like the whole thing with like machine learning and AI is that like it's almost a black box where you don't know, like stuff goes in and then like it learns stuff, but then like you don't know what it's thinking in there. Like how can you train the model, but then like how do you know what it's gonna actually produce without like, you go like through a bunch of iterations of like, oh, like if I say like 10 things and it says like 8 things that are normal but like 2 things are weird, you're like, why is it saying these weird things? How did it learn this? Who taught this?
I didn't want to bring up this last thing. I just need to check on something really quick. But I did want to bring up this last thing about AI, and it's that some country, I'm not going to name the country, but some country has an AI bot out now. And it's not so great because essentially it's like I think it's like using like a voice or like a translation layer to go into like chat GPT.
Oh,
And
so it's like it's a bit too far removed from it.
yeah, so the thing is that they would ask it questions about they would ask it questions and it would come out with really like weird answers because of the language translation that's happening.
So it's not natively in the language that it's trying to be used for.
Yes. And so like a lot of people, because like AI was blowing up here because of the artwork. So,
That's a very interesting one too.
yeah, so a lot of the artwork that was being produced by the AI was very strange. It would be like bears dancing, and like when they would type in like stories, and like it was so weird. But the thing is too, because of government regulation that they did have, like it like when they asked it something political, it would somehow say it's like, oh, this isn't available, or it would go into a different topic that's not about that thing. And I think that
It
like what you
moderate
said,
itself
yeah, it would moderate it with because of the inputs that
like humans did.
yeah, that humans did, which is kind of like defeating the purpose a little bit, I feel, of AI, and like being able to get a response in that sense.
Like,
But that's just my two cents about it.
I think the issue is the AI that they have, if they're just using a copy, or like they're not like from the ground up making their own AI, that AI might be trained on a different source of like information. So like it wouldn't produce the same, or the desired answers that if they made their own and then trained it on their own data set that's like very pro whatever they want.
Yeah.
So if they made one from the ground up, then I think it wouldn't have to be moderated. It would just be self-moderated. It would just be like, it's kind of weird when you say it's like it would believe what it's learned.
Yes, but it goes into this. I feel like it goes into this hole where do we trust what AI is telling us? At that point, if there is interference within that, yeah. So it just makes me a little skeptical in some sense about AI, and
A
also,
little skeptical. Only a
well,
little.
yeah, I mean, like a majority of what I've seen, is the majority of what I've seen. It looks like people are getting the results that they want when they actually put in like the correct inputs. But yeah, it's, I think, a TBD, to be determined, on what's going to be happening. Okay. Yeah, I think we could probably go into the next topic.
Okay.